Hi, good morning, good afternoon, good night, wherever you are. My name is Leticia. Welcome to the channel. Well, today we're in the fourth part of our makeup shorties, which is blush and highlighter. So we've been through skin prep, primer, foundation, concealer, bronzer, contour, and now we're up to blush and highlighter. If you want to see more, keep watching. Okay, we're here for the blush and the highlighter. As you can tell, I don't know if you watched the other videos or not, but I've already have all the products that I mentioned before, so it's not like a fresh face. But if you don't want to apply all those products before, you don't have to. Do whatever you feel good with and you feel happy. Just be careful that if you don't apply all those other products that I applied before, so if you're just starting after skin prep, sunscreen, you're just like, oh, I'm gonna do a little bit of blush and highlighter, you will have to apply less product to look natural. So if you want to look good in person, not for camera or photos and filming, etc., then you have to apply less product because you didn't blank your face with foundation and concealer. So if you apply too much, it's just gonna look like too much in person. If that's what you're doing, if you're going for it, go for it. Great, I support you 100%. But if you want to look natural in person, then you have to be really careful with the amount of products you are applying because you already have some color on your skin. You just enhance that color that's already there. So for blush, like all the other products we talked before, blush comes in many shapes, formulas, and colors and whatever. It's a whole world out there and I love it. But you have to be careful not to ruin your natural look if that's what you're going for. First thing you have to consider, what type of base makeup you have already on. If you have already very matte face, you probably should go with a matte blush. Why? Because if you go with a super dewy or super glittery blush, it will look very different. Like the texture that you're seeing here, like I'm looking at a mirror, right? And other people will be looking at me like that. So if my whole skin has one texture, which is pretty natural so far, I think I did a good job. But if you apply something that has like glitter, it will be like, yeah, clearly this is not her own blush showing. It's a brush, like no one has glitter on the skin naturally, right? If that's what you're going for, that's great. Just be conscious of the choice you make, right? So right now, my skin is matte, a little bit like getting a little bit for more like natural finish because the oils of my skin are combining with all the makeup I have under.
Because I've been filming for hours on them, of course.
The thing is, if I apply something that is very matte, it might look out of place now because my skin is not that matte anymore. And if I apply something very glowy, it will also look out of place. Something else that you have to consider is if you already powdered a lot heavily, like your cheeks. So if you applied powder and then you applied bronzer and contour all in powder and then you come with something super creamy on top, the makeup might start sliding and it's not gonna be nice. So also consider that. As we said before, try to acquire your makeup if you don't want, to have a huge collection, which most people don't. They don't want to have a huge collection. I understand and I agree. So try to go for same finishes so they will talk and agree more between themselves. So besides finish, we will also have to look for is the color. So what's your skin color? I'm neutral, a little bit too cool. And I know that if I apply peachy, things that are getting into orange territory, they will look very orange on me because it starts contrasting with the little bit of coolness that I have. And if I apply something that is very cold, we will also look a little weird, like almost like the blush is making my cheeks recede, which is not a look that usually most people go for. Usually we want this area to look a little fuller and plumpier, which means bringing it forward, which means a little bit warmth, right? Usually that's what, healthy cheeks are. And if you want natural, the natural look, it's always going towards healthy cheeks, which is the natural thing to happen. Some people blush, some people get a little burned in the sun. That's the natural look. If you do anything else, it won't look as natural and people will be able to tell that you have makeup on. So as we said before, look for your skin, look for what does it need. In this case, now that I have makeup on, it will be the texture. So I have to agree with the textures and all the products that I have going on my skin. If I didn't, which is also perfectly alright, if you just want to go directly for blush and highlighter after doing your skin prep, just be careful with the texture to not look super disparate from your skin. So again, super matte, super dewy will clash. And also for your skin needs. So, but if you have oily skin, a matte powder blush might agree more than a super dewy creamy, like what I showed before from Salt New York. That will make it even dewer. Everything that is too extreme, doesn't even matter how much of your skin is oily or dry, will look a little bit out of place. So trying to stay away from the extremes is also recommended. So talking about the second one, which is less is more. So less product will give you a more natural natural application. Like for everything else that we already talked in makeup, you must be tired of hearing this. Less is more. And that's exactly what makeup artists do. They don't pile 5 kilos of makeup in their face, in the person's model face, because it will look weird even in photos sometimes. And even photos and videos have a limit of makeup they can make look natural. I know that is not really what's happening, but like the filter of the camera can make some things look natural, not everything. If you go too far, even that will look kind of weird. So be really conscious. What are you going for? Are you going for camera, shooting, snatch look, or are you going for natural? I want to wear this every day. And again, as we talked before, the sky is the limit for blushes. You can see here I have only some that I have in my hand. I really like it. I like this product. I think it's great. So let's start with the liquidy. So you have something like this that comes in the doe application. It's very liquidy. This one, in this case, the Wear Beauty one, is extremely pigmented. So much less than that. It's more like, this is not a joke. You will look like someone hit you in the face if you go all in with this, which is a look, but you have to be conscious about it. We have things like this, like the Glow Play blush from MAC, which is putty. See, like, you want to squeeze it the whole day. Delicious. I love this blush. But you can see it's a little bit glittery, but it doesn't really translate to skin. So when I apply it, it's just natural. So testing on your hands is going to give you a pretty good impression of what is going to happen in your cheeks when you're buying this. This is a little more matte. I know I applied like such little quantity, but it's because you see, it goes a long way. And if you want it to look natural, you have to be really careful. And you have something like this, the Phytosurgent blush, which is absolutely gorgeous. And it's a cream. It's like this. Looks like a mousse and it feels like a mousse. It's delicious. You can see this color is very warm for me. It's the Inferno. It's like rust color, but it can look very skin native. It's a little bit healthy, which is more like a natural look than actually a dewy look. You have products like this, which also come like this in this package, but they are moussey, and those moussey are usually gonna be matte and stained sometimes. So yeah, those products, careful. You have blushes that come in tubes too. They can be also very pigmented, but because they are more liquidy, they're starting to get more into liquidy territory. They are closer like this type of formula where it looks more natural. Even a little bit of shine, but it looks much more natural to skin. Can you see? Matte, a little bit glowy. And in powders too. They also come in many different finishes. So you have things like the Burt's Bees. It's very powdery and it's matte, but it's a little pearlescent. It's not like super matte. It's really nice finish. You have Essence like this. Looks very matte, but even though it's very powdery, it has a nice finish, more natural finish. You have things like Milani Luminoso, which are extremely glittery shiny. You can see here in my arms. Be careful of the shiny territory with blush, because everything that has actual mica and glitter particles is gonna enhance texture. So if you have scarring, if you have large pores, be really careful and mindful of highlighters and blush that have those kind of particles. When they are more metallic or even pearlescent without actual like big particles in it, they're going to give you more elegant finish and it's gonna be more natural too. And for the powders, we have matte. These ones are extremely soft, very soft milled, like very small particles, but they give me a matte look. See, powders can have many finishes, creams too. So in all of those, try to see what formulas you like, not just the finish but also interacting with it, because blush can be something very pleasurable, honestly, because it's the step of the makeup that actually starts giving color back to you. So you're like, wow, oh, it feels so nice, plump and juicy. It's also nice when you can have pleasure from interacting with your makeup. Good tip. And also formulas that can be very creamy, almost balmy. They are going to be moisturizing, which is great for people with dry skin, but they can be too oily. Though this one actually gives a very nice natural finish. You can see here. It's not super glowy. Like the Quo, it's actually more glowy. Good tips for finding good colors for blushes. We talked about the temperature of the skin. Great. This is a great start. So if you have neutral undertones, a little bit too cold, a little bit too warm, stay in the neutral territory. So this is a little bit of a cooler pink, but it's kind of neutral. This color, you can see, very neutral too. You can't really tell. Like some Pink peaches, they are neutral because they are in the middle. They're not pink, they're not peach, they are in the middle. A lot of browns are going to be that middle ground territory, and they are very flattering usually. If you are colder, go into the pinks. If you're warmer, go into the peaches and browns. Rust colors are warm, berry colors are colder. But the best tip, which can be a little shocking, is like if you apply it and it actually looks like sunburn, or that you're feverish, or that you burned yourself, those colors like causing that feeling on you and in other people mean that they are native to your skin. So it means that you're going in the right direction. Of course, don't apply too much, otherwise you actually look not natural, look like you're feverish. But it means that you're going towards colors that actually belong to your skin, which is a good tip if that's what you want, natural look. There are some people that like the browns too, like this, that are very 90. This one is a little bit colder, but it's kind of neutral too. So also very good choice. We're starting with So Natural, the Glow Play blush from MAC, which is literally one of my favorite blushes ever. I know I already applied powder, but this one deals well with powder if I don't swipe it, if I just pat it on my skin. So here you can see I applied in the way I usually apply, which is most of the product here right under the outer corner of my eyes in circular motions, patting and spreading it up and a little bit in. If you want more like a bronzy kind of look, for myself it's very natural. You can start coming in this area because when I burn, I actually burn here a lot, so it looks very natural on the nose. Some people also, tap it here to give it a little more color back, which will look very natural too. I don't like when the blush goes down. Again, it drags your face down. So don't do this, because if you do this, the face that is here now, when you stop smiling, it's gonna be down here. It will drag your face down. It will age you. So don't do this when you're applying. This is not a good tip for anyone. And don't apply too much product everywhere. Start in the center and blend away. Otherwise, you will apply too much product. Remember, less is more. And you can see this blush, it's a really natural color, at least for me, light skin person, but it's almost a blush bronzer hybrid, which means you don't even need to use all those products if you don't want. This might cover most of your ground and it has a beautiful finish. I do recommend it 100%. One of the most neutral colors that I've ever seen for blush is this Phytosurgeon Simmer color, which is like, is it peach? Is it pink? Who knows? But it's great. It's a great color to like give that warmth that, I'm a little bit, blushing. So healthy, so healthy. And I'm gonna demonstrate for you guys now. I'll probably end up with more blush than it's natural, but it's just because I'm demonstrating them to you guys. You don't have to, you don't need to do all of this. Always taking the excess. You must have noticed that I went with the blush really close to my nose, almost under my dark circles, almost coming to my eyes, a little bit on the temples. I like that look. I think it's healthy and it looks great and it does look natural. Just don't use too much product. And I think like now if you look at me, you're like, oh, you have like some burn skin. Yeah, I do. This is not makeup at all. The next step is obviously just like making sure you have like a symmetrical look. And now we are into highlighter. Do you need it? No. If you want it, let's go. The thing is, as all the other steps, blah, 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 I'm going to say it again. You can pick and choose whatever you want from this whole thing, right? Whatever step you want to take or put in or switch, you do it. You do you. We're now going to talk about highlighter. Do I use it every day? Absolutely not. Do I love it? Yes. But it's like too much glitter and shine on your skin. If it's not just a balmy wetness and oiliness, it will look fake. So it's very hard to actually do highlighting and make it look natural. The way to do highlighting and make it look natural is usually with the same things you are actually using on your skin. So foundation, concealer, and powder, but in a lighter shade of your skin tone. That's why there are things like this. The Charisma Contour Palette, they have a lighter shade that is just for that, to do the highlighting. So there you go. See? That will highlight. Because I already applied a lot of cream and I didn't go in with a powder blush because, I think I look healthy and nice like that. I don't want to go in with the powder, but it will be the same technique as the bronzer and all the other things. I'm going in with this powder, but I have to be really, really, really careful. So let's repeat it all. Let's repeat ourselves. Same thing we talked about, bronzer and contour. Look at your skin. What do you want to highlight? What do you want to enhance? What do you want to change? Me, myself, with contour, I don't want to change much, but with the highlighting, I really like to have a light up nose here in the center, and I love highlighting this cheekbone area, which is almost the same area where my blush is applied. I usually go in with a little bit of shine because I'm not really afraid that people are gonna tell that I have makeup. Usually I'm just going out with like lips and eyes all out, so it's kind of like it's obvious that I have makeup on. But otherwise, you want something more matte, more opaque. And because I have a small face, to be really careful with the size of the brush I'm using. Because if I use a big brush, look at the size of my face that it's covering. What do you think is gonna happen? I don't want to highlight my whole side of my face. So this is more like the size. It could be even smaller, but this is really fluffy, so it's fine. So I'm gonna take out the excess and I'll just tap. And you're gonna be like, it didn't do much. Yes, well, of course not. Because it doesn't have the glitter you were expecting. It didn't have the shine that you were expecting. It's just very realistic highlighting, which is basically just making part of your face a little bit lighter than the rest. Like exactly like we just did with bronzer and contour. Just creating different shades will create the dynamic, levels and bringing some forward and retreating some of the other ones back. If you want to go for a little bit of shine, in order to look natural, try to go for things that are a little more friendly, less pigmented. My favorite ever is the Dandelion Twinkle from Benefit. I'm almost gone. You can see here. It's like oldest time, the same for me. It's not that shiny. Like it is shiny, but let me show you. This is like full application. But you can do less. See here where I applied less, where I did full on. So you can just be careful. Because it's kind of pearlescent, it's a little more believable. Everything that gets closer to the balmy, watering shine, it will be more believable. I think that the one that I have that is more believable from all of them is the Salt New York, because it has the balmy finish, but look, it's also pearlescent. It's a little darker than the other one, but it comes in many shades. But you can blend into being a lot more friendly here. That's what we're gonna try. Just taking a little bit. If you have too much product on your finger, just deposit with that finger and go in with the other clear finger and blend it. There you go. Let's go to the other side. So that's how I'm looking after skin prep, primer, foundation, concealer, bronzer, contour, blush, and highlighter, right? So of course, it's not like super natural anymore because I am doing all the steps. Again, you pick and choose whatever you want from this, but it is pretty natural. Like I know it's not like natural, but people looking at me in the street, if they like don't stop and stare at me, they won't know that I have makeup on. They might not even stare because of that. They might even like be like, oh, she's just healthy, looks fine. What do you think? Do you think it's still looking natural? I think it's okay. I would probably use less coverage in the foundation. I was demonstrating how that foundation would work. And also, if I wanted really believable highlighting, I wouldn't be using pearlescent highlighter, but just to show you how it behaves after I apply the matte one. So, do you like it? How are you liking? How are you enjoying this Makeup Shorties playlist so far? This series? Let me know in the comments. Thank you for subscribing, commenting, liking, watching, all that jazz. And most importantly, I hope you have an awesome day. I'll see you in the next one. Bye!